Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked, where I do all of my tarot and oracle reviews done Stacy style as part of my Black Feather Code Tour, Divining a VIP Life. So excited to have you guys here. And today, I really felt called to do a little bit of a multi-deck review on soft decks. Now, what is a soft deck? A soft deck to me is a deck that gives me soft imagery. It gives me warm and fuzzy feelings. Even when I'm having a rough time, I go to these decks because I don't want to get walloped over the head with the guidance. I want it to be given to me gently. I want it to provide comfort. I want it to provide support. And right now we are in, a shitstorm for the most part. So I felt like, you know what? If I'm needing this soft deck energy, I bet other people are too. So we're going to start off with the first two decks. I don't have the box with me. I just recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and some of my stuff is still in boxes. But we are going to start here with the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. This is an oldie but a goodie. And this is a deck that is by Barbara Moore and Stephanie Pui Moon La. You guys are, if you're old hat at all of this tarot stuff, this is not going to be a surprise to you. But I absolutely love this deck. This is one of the first decks that I bought separate from the Rider-Waite-Smith, the official version. And it makes my heart so happy. So first of all, we can see the backs. The backs are beautiful. They're reversible if you read reversals. I choose not to, but I know a lot of people do. It shuffles beautifully. The card quality is, it's thinner. It's a thinner cardstock. It's got a little bit of that sheen, which I want to say a lot of people, today we prefer the matte, especially those of us who are making recordings. We prefer the matte finish, but it still just makes me happy every time. So let's take a look and see some of these pictures. Here we start with the Hierophant. And as you can see here, it's just a beautifully fantastical deck. It's a deck that has a lot of character. I want to say it has a lot going on in the story of the card. And that's one of the things that I love about it. Also, the colors are gentle. The colors are soft. And when we look at the Hierophant here, because it's a tree, you're not feeling like you're being chastised by ritual and tradition. It's more of, I'm out in the woods. And of course, I'm going to listen to a tree because a tree is wiser than me. A tree encourages me to gather my own wisdom and my own inner knowing. Here is the Judgment card. And this Judgment card follows me wherever I go right now. I think I'm just in a judgment phase. But it's such a beautiful card here. We have an angel on the side trumpeting out. We've got some beautiful oranges and blues that are coming out. It's just very opening and inviting. And when you pull the Judgment card, there's really an indicator at that point, that you're running into some issues. And you're going to have to make a decision at some point. And sometimes that decision can be a bit daunting. And I feel like this card is basically saying, hey, come one, come all. It doesn't have to be daunting. It's just a matter of let's have a chat about it. Let's see if you're ready. We've got the Hanged one, the Hanged Man. Again, the soft colors. There's so much purple. Now, I need to let you know, I absolutely love purple. Purple is my signature color. So, of course, I'm going to be drawn to this deck with all of the purple in the imagery. But it's still a very soft and inviting card or deck. Here is the Six of Cups. And, they're having a tea party in the forest. I mean, there's nothing scary about this at all. Yeah, we can talk about the past and how the past can sort of creep up into your life and into your world. I feel like that's being shown by sort of the nighttime. It's a nighttime tea ceremony rather than a daytime tea ceremony. But there's a lot of harmony and balance. There's a lot of flow in here. So just really beautiful. Nine of Cups. She's swimming with all of her friends, all of her family members, all of the awards. This is wishes fulfilled, wishes granted. 10 of Pentacles. This is a card of legacy. And I love that we're looking at this card here because you don't see the traditional, typical view what you're seeing is she's celebrating with her dragon. She's celebrating with her familial. Yes, there's the castle in the background. She's in the, on the grounds of her castle and her kingdom. And she's enjoying the fruits of her labor. Also, there's this beautiful portal, a mosaic, and this is the legacy that she's leaving behind, the mosaic of all of the different things and energies and whatnot that she has been tapping into to get where she's at. Here's a beautiful depiction of the Lover's card. Again, soft, gentle, even if you're receiving a message here around, the reflections that you're having to pay attention to in your life, this card says you're supported in that. Even if it's source supporting you, the divine masculine and the divine feminine within each of us, source energy saying, hey, we've got you covered. It's just a soft approach. Oh, and I love this. There's a tiny little heart here that can also be interpreted as an apple, depending on how you're feeling about it. The Sun card, nice and bright, somebody who feels very victorious. King of Swords, the thinker. Even with this King of Swords, if you're struggling with something, even legal matters, and you're just looking for a little bit of comfort, guidance, and support, even this King of Swords is gentle. He's the thinker. He's got the wise owl. Here we have the Ten of Wands, rewards and the burdens that go with it. I love this because she's got all of these things on her back. She's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, but she wants to move forward. Isn't that time? Two of Swords. Okay, so this is a card that a lot of people can feel a bit overwhelmed with when you have to make a decision. I always like to see this as, sort of the intuitional process, blindfold yourself so that you can feel into your choices rather than seeing, choosing based on what you're seeing, because looks can be deceiving. Here, there's a little heart hung on from the tree branch here, or the tree trunk. We've got the moon reflecting. There's a beautiful swan in here, another swan on the other side. So you're protected. Yeah, there's choices to be made, but it doesn't feel super scary. Queen of Wands, look at her. So she's all about empowerment, right? Queen of Wands energy really says, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And I love that there are little foxes here as well. Foxes are all about opportunity, right? Opportunists. Yeah, we can talk about them as the trickster as well, but here they are in support of her. They're saying, let's give you as many opportunities as we can for you to be able to light your fire and float your boat, for you to be able to succeed. And she clearly has succeeded because she's learning to play the harp. Page of Swords. Ooh, we got another one upside down. Queen of Cups. Scorpio card, Four of Swords. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times this particular card from this particular deck came up during a very difficult time in my life. This always brings me such comfort. Beautiful pink flowers. She's laying in this sort of gossamer type bed with, silk around her. She's holding on to a sword just in case, but she's got the other three swords behind her. She's clearing her mind. All the beautiful yellow is there. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Eight of Wands. Five of Pentacles, even this one that can be quite jarring when we are going through something major. This Five of Pentacles is here to say, okay, this is a little bit softer. Yeah, she's crying, but there's a beautiful, beautiful butterfly here that is saying, hey, look up, look at me. I'm here to support you. Let me help. Page of Cups, all of that beautiful creativity. You can see that she's underwater. She's in her own environment, in her element. And she's sharing, she's conjuring some stuff, but she's also sharing with her, her sea friends. Here we have the Justice card, and I love this. Instead of there are scales of justice here, but instead of like the statuesque energy, there's a lot of this black and white that is shown in her wings, and she looks triumphant. She looks confident. She's got her eyes closed, which means she is going based on just the facts. She doesn't want to know all the superfluous stuff, just the facts. Here's the Fool card, beautiful Fool card, balancing, teetering on the next move. Again, we have another companion that is here, a little fox companion, ready to take this journey. And all of these beautiful peace doves are here to send her off, to send her on her way. Seven of Cups. I love this particular depiction because it's kind of showing like, oh, here's what we can imagine. Here's what we can have. This is what we want to look towards. I always see this as a blueprint, for the house that she's describing. She wants to build on that property. And that Seven of Cups is the imagination piece. Temperance. Look at this beautiful Temperance card. Balance, tolerance, and alignment. And we have a little bit of the yin yang in here. Of course, some dragon energy. I love me some dragons. Six of Swords. This is beautiful. A card of support and grace. She's not having to do it all herself. She's on the back of the swan, and the swan says, I got you. Follow me. Let's do this. Beautiful Eight of Pentacles. I love this, the weaving of the web. The idea that I want to say the spider weaves its web, and whether you destroy it or not, the spider is there for creation's sake anyway. So it's going to continue to weave its web. So that Eight of Pentacles, that mastery, that attention to detail, that work energy, being in service to the web, in service to your creativity. It's beautiful. Love this Death card. This Death card, and the Death card in the Lightseers Tarot, I think, are my absolute favorite depictions of death. And of course, this is a phoenix. So, I always love the phoenix. Nothing wrong with the phoenix. Look at this beautiful Four of Wands. How cheerful, how bright. We have these antelope, that are hanging out together. They've got fairies that are lighting the way forward, sending them off into this next journey. Beautiful. The High Priestess. She looks, again, very similar to the Justice card, right? The black and white wings. But it's like an evolution of that. Knight of Wands. What's interesting about this is it does imply movement, but it actually implies like he's slowing down, like he's pulling back a little bit before he launches and makes a move. And I love that depiction of it, because a lot of times the Knight of Wands gets a bad rap, impulsive and, always going and hot-headed and all the rest of it. This says, okay, no, there is some thought to how we are moving forward. Here's a beautiful King of Pentacles. Oh, just look at that. Reminds me a little bit of the Green Man. I'm sure that was the inspiration. Beautiful Ten of Swords. The card of ruin, the card of rebirth, ending something entirely, so that you have the freedom to be able to move forward. And then the Nine of Pentacles. I love this. It's a card of that, that perseverance pays off, building your skill set. Allows you now to really be in the space and the place of the magic. I want to say the magic. So I absolutely love the Shadowscapes Tarot. It's fantastic. The second one that doesn't have a box currently is the Crystal Visions Tarot, and this is by Jennifer Galazzo. And this deck completely took me by surprise. And again, it's been around for a really long time. So I'm sure, a lot of you watching this are going to be familiar with this deck. When I got it, it was I was in a phase of really starting to learn about Kickstarter campaigns and independent decks. And so when I got this, and of course it's a mass production deck, I was kind of mass market deck. I was kind of like, I don't really know if I want to do it or not, but the colors really drew themselves to me. And as you can see, it's a reversal card. This is a US Games deck. And the cardstock is, I want to say, a little bit better than the Shadowscapes. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit stronger, but kind of basically in the same realm and the same vein. It shuffles absolutely beautifully. I like to say like butter. You can spread it out, and it makes a nice spread on the table if you wanted to really do a nice card pull for yourself or for others. But let's take a look at why this card is so soft and so gentle and so comforting. Specifically, that's how I feel about it. So here we've got the Seven of Swords. And when we look at how interesting that I just pulled the Seven of Swords, this is one of the cards that in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck that symbolizes that there might be some trouble ahead, or there's something that you need to be paying attention to. Integrity, issues of integrity, dishonesty, trickery. It's also a card of strategy. But here we are looking at it. The colors are beautiful, even though it's darker, and it portends what it means, which is there is, a storm, a brewing. We've got the, black birds. They're all carrying the swords. There is something that you can tell has gone on or is going on, but it's not like it's hitting you over the head. And I think that's really important. Nine of Wands, look at her. So normally this card really indicates like exhaustion, resilience, perseverance, coming to the end of a road around something. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I'm almost done. I've got one more to go, but let me just take a break. Let me take a breather. And I love this Nine of Wands is shown with the lion, which always makes me think of the Strength card, that the lion, she's leaning on her lion buddy and she's saying, I just need a little break. And the lion's like, I got you. I got you. Page of Wands, we have some dragon action here. Always loving the dragon. She's playing the flute. So there's curiosity here. There's also this energy of enjoying what it is that you are working on or learning at this time. She's not about perfectionism. She's not about, I'm not going to play this flute until I actually know exactly what I'm doing. She's just out with her little dragon at sunset, and she's just playing some music because it makes her happy. The Empress, beautiful card. You're seeing here, there's a little bit of water. You're seeing the earth. You're seeing the abundance on the trees, these beautiful butterflies that are happening here. She's pregnant with a new idea or, giving birth to something new. She's carrying her sort of triskelion wand. She's got a lot of her third eye activated, lots of jewels going on. I mean, it's beautiful. Here's a Ten of Swords. So perfect example. Even with this, it's a pretty gruesome scene. She's in the snow. There's a little bit of obviously blood that's kind of leaking out of her. Clearly, there's something, that has happened. But in the sky, you see that the sky is opening up. You see that the swords are lighting up. You're seeing that there's illumination in all of this. There is the dawn of a new day. And I feel, even with that Ten of Swords that can sometimes feel like a harsh message, I feel like this opens me up to something new. There's method to the madness. There's purpose. Here's a beautiful Seven of Pentacles. Instead of her doing the work, she's sitting and kind of enjoying the work, contemplating the fruits of her labor, really taking a moment to stop and smell the roses. And that's not always how this particular card is depicted. But here I feel like, rather than, questioning, is the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak, as Chris Minopon says, I feel like what she's doing here instead is she's sitting and she's taking a moment to acknowledge that she's got all of this harvest stuff that's come in. And, maybe just patting herself on the back a little bit. Sure, some contemplation about, okay, my basket isn't going to carry all of this stuff. So what do I need to bring next time? But there's hope here. There's excitement. There's relief. And then the moving forward. Here's a beautiful Three of Pentacles, that collaboration energy. And I love here, as we're looking at this, she's got all three of the pentacles here. So it feels like she's delivering the pentacles and he's saying, oh, very cool. How can I help you out? Let me know how I can be a part of this for you. And she says, oh, that would be great. Thank you. Because I really want to mount them on something, but I'm not quite sure what to do or how to do it. So definitely a lot of that collaborative energy. Here's a beautiful Hermit. And I love that it's all in purple. It's simple. It's whimsical. It's fantastical. And yet it's also, I want to say, simply stated. You get the message. She's on her own. She's, sitting on the cliff. She's looking up. She's got a higher perspective on things. But I want to say it's a solitary moment. It's a solitary experience. Here, let's look at another card that can be a challenging card for us when it comes up. Nine of Swords. And even with this, it almost looks like she's just at rest. There's no angst. There's no anxiety here. And it gives you permission to say, get out of your head and take a break. And I feel like, when I'm going through something major and I don't need somebody to tell me, well, duh, you need to do this or that or the other thing. This would be the message that I would want, like, Just take a break. Just relax. We've got you. We're protecting you. Four of Cups. She doesn't look bored. She actually looks contemplative. And I love that. Four of Cups often can mean like delay. This says, hey, it's okay. Take a moment to just kind of be in the space of where you are. Get present, get present and see what else is going to come up and come through for you as a result. Here's a beautiful 10 of Cups depiction. So 10 of Cups, I'm not always a fan of the way the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith depicts it, because it's all about the ideal for everybody, implies like the perfect happy family. I'm going to say just use it as the ideal outcome of your situation. But even with this, I'm not offended by it. I'm not mad at it, because I feel like it's expressing success, love, closeness, togetherness, companionship. And I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what the successes that we're looking for, those are the qualities that we want to see in the experience. That is what would be a measured success. Five of Cups, the card of grief. Yes, she looks sad here. She definitely looks sad. I want to say, the self-love and the self-care in the pink, she is crying that, and she's crying that into the river. She's sad about these other cups. These little fairies, I feel, are bringing her the new cups, and she hasn't, yet realized, but they're on their way to her. So, it makes grief make sense. It makes grief not so, like you don't have to feel bad about the fact that you're grieving something. We all grieve. We all have to release things, and we all need to take our own, our own journey on that. Here's another beautiful Queen of Wands. Loving this Queen of Wands. Again, showing almost like that strength card energy, which I think is really cool. I love these little bubbles, these little spheres of energy around her, spheres of support. Nine of Pentacles. So here we are getting, and I love the tiger in this. We're getting some repeats here, but you can see the softness of it, the gentleness of it. There's happiness here. Oh, beautiful Ace of Cups. I love the dragonfly. I had a beautiful dragonfly sit on my laptop the other day for he was there for 20 minutes. It was really cool. I just was talking to him, really enjoyed his presence while I was doing my work. Queen of Pentacles. Here she's wearing a beautiful mask, very autumn-esque. So definitely feeling into that energy. Here's a 10 of Pentacles. Again, another legacy card. Here, the legacy, the family is we've got the deer and the wolf. We've got all of the crystals. We've got all of the foliage. Another Page of Cups. I seem to be gravitating to a lot of the same cards here. A beautiful Page of Cups in her creative mode. Beautiful depiction of the world. Here she's on top of the world. She's sitting on top of the world, not in the world. She's on top of the world. And I feel like that's important too, because it's about the perspective that we have. Six of Pentacles happening here. Investment, reinvestment into yourself, generosity. Check out the Devil here. I like this because it's sort of that, I feel like it's not Eve, but it's Lilith energy that's coming up. And I think that's an important aspect of the Devil card. Nine of Cups here again. Wishes fulfilled. She looks very relaxed. There's so much pink in this card too. So it is invoking, even on a subconscious level, self-care and self-love. Love the Wheel of Fortune. And of course, we've got this little dragon guy hanging out on top of the wheel. We've got all of the astrology signs in this wheel, which I think is really important. Here we have the Emperor. So we're leaning with that divine masculine. We had the divine feminine earlier with the Empress. We got the Strength card as well, which is great. So here we are seeing the Lion. Knight of Wands. And Page of Swords. So again here, she's curious. She's a thinker. She's ready to move forward. This indicates that she's bringing the light. Even in the darker storms, she's bringing the light. So that is my Crystal Visions. Oh my God, my brain. Sorry, my brain is like, I have a brain fart. The next one that is very gentle and near and dear to my heart is the Ember and Aura Tarot. And if you are interested, I did a full deck review of this particular deck. It comes in a really beautiful box. Super, super gorgeous. It's called the Awakening Edition, and I don't think that they even do these anymore, make these anymore. So I apologize for that, but you can get them on Etsy and eBay. So check out the backs here. They're gilded in this beautiful pink gilding. I just love it. These are super gentle. It's reversible if you want to do that. It spreads pretty well. These are bigger cards. You know, you can see it's like the size of an oracle card, a traditional oracle card rather than a tarot card. I don't mind that. I have, you know, big hands, so I can shuffle just fine, but it shuffles beautifully, again, like butter. And let's check some of these out. So here's a 9 of Cups. It's kind of got that artistic drawing style. I'm going to try and make sure that these cards are straight. They don't look straight in my world, so it's a little bit weird. You know, I will say, to be honest, I typically am not a person who kind of seeks out that sort of the pencil drawing or the sketch drawing. It's usually not a thing, but I'm going to say this was a gift that was given to me, and I wouldn't have bought it for myself, but I'm so grateful to have it, and I use it like crazy. So, you know, you learn something new when you're going through this. The moon, you know, seeing that it's almost like the woman in the moon, right? Rather than the man on the moon, the woman in the moon, and you're joining, you're connecting. Here's the 10 of Swords. Even with the 10 of Swords, you know, she's being pierced all over the place. There's something softer about the image. She's under the water. She's got her eyes closed. The swords are, I want to say, kind of beautifully designed. It just feels a little more gentle. Here's the Fool. I love the Fool card here. You know, you don't see three sets of hands in this Fool journey, but yet here it is. And I feel like, you know, the wings are hanging the wings up. The wings are hanging from her feet. You know, she's ready. She's ready to take a new journey. We've got some pink in the mountains in the background. Again, a self-love, self-care, self-directed journey. Temperance. This is so gentle. So 1 foot in the water, the rest of her is on land. She's alchemizing. She's doing what she needs to do. Here's a beautiful Wheel of Fortune card. This is kind of interesting because it makes me think of like seeds that we're planting, you know, or like when you've got a dandelion and you know the white dandelion and you kind of you blow it and all the seeds of potential go everywhere. That's what this makes me think of. Here's a Judgment card. Loving that. Again, lots of pink. Here's a High Priestess card. So the pillars are the trees, which I think is really cool. Here's the Death card. So even the Death card, she's in a dress, right? It's that Santa Muerte. So there's purpose, there's meaning behind it. 7 of Coins. Oh, here's an interesting depiction of the 8 of Swords. So you don't actually see anybody's face. You just see the hands. And you've got this Peace Dove. You've got all of the swords that are making up the grate or making up the, you know, sort of the jail cell or the door. And then you've got this beautiful sun that's shining through. I really like this. It's kind of like maybe there's a little bit of an illusion to the stuckness here. Our first chariot. Let's take a look at the chariot here. And look at how many. She's got all of her little snow dogs with her. She's got her little pack. And I think that's so great. I love that her hair is braided. And she's wearing a cape. You know, she's her own hero. The Hermit. This is an interesting version of the Hermit. It's like the grandma spider, right? The Spider Woman kind of energy, coming into that cave, coming out of the cave, being a little bit in, a little bit out. But there's a lot of, I want to say there's a lot of introspection that's happening here. Oh, also the moon depicted here is that like a seed, like a bunch of seeds being planted again. Here's a 10 of Cups. Very interesting, all the different hands that are participating in the success, the Peace Dove. Here's a beautiful 2 of Coins. Here's an interesting Three of Swords. So you're not seeing a heart. It's not even making a heart shape. It's more like the swords are all converging. It's like an apex. And I find that interesting too, because sometimes, the heart and the blood and the swords and all the things and the stuff, this feels gentle and centered to me. This feels like something I can understand. A beautiful Three of Coins, centered circles of support. Five of Wands, very cool. Again, we're not seeing people per se, we're seeing hands. And we're seeing, again, they're all coming together. There's one more that's just trying to figure out its place, and they're all working together to make that happen. And we have the Seven of Cups. So this is a card of illusion and delusion, choices, dreams, all those kinds of things. Well, here we don't have anybody around us. It's literally the cups of tea. Let's have a cup of tea. What kind of cup of tea do you want? They can all feed into one another. So that is the Ember and Aura. There's a beautiful guidebook with this particular deck. But you can see how the artistry in this deck is very gentle, very smooth. No matter what you got going on in your world, pulling from this deck, it's not going to make you sad. It's definitely going to give you, I want to say, a lot of support and guidance. The next one that I chose is actually the Good Tarot from Colette Baron-Reid. It took me years and years and years before I felt ready to take on this particular deck. I wasn't sure about it. I have just about every one of her oracle decks. I always love her stuff. Of course, it has, a really nice guidebook. If you're into tarot at all and oracle at all, I know Colette Baron-Reid. So it took me a long time to sort of lean into the tarot part of it, because I was all about the oracles with her, not so much about the tarot. And then I just sort of stepped into it. And this one I really love. And again, it gives soft guidance. So we've got this beautiful green card. It is reversible for the most part. A little shiny, not a fan of that. Also larger size, oracle size versus tarot size, but it fits with her branding. Let's just take a look. So here's the Hermit. And of course, there's nobody in this picture. The Hermit is the door. It's the portal with the keys. Where will this lead you? Going within to see what's happening. She uses the numbers in a unique way in this. I can't help but think that this is her in sort of like a male version, because I just see her eyes and her face. I think she shows up at another point in this deck as well. But I love this magician, and I can't help but see her, as well as a little bit of a Santa Claus or a Merlin, the magician. I know that's what she's going for. Here's a Two of Fire. So, that Two of Fire, Two of Wands, it's decisions. It's direction. It's choosing a direction. And I love that there's a beautiful giraffe here. And the giraffe is holding the light so that she can just kind of hang out. She can really take a look at the land, a lay of the land. What is next? Where do I want to go next? Here's the Seven of Water, Seven of Cups. All of these choices that she has at her fingertips here. Which choice will she make? This is beautiful green energy. Here's a Page of Earth. He just looks so cute. He's a little fairy guy, and he's just checking out the world. He's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Why don't you come join me? I'm on a journey. That Page of Pentacles energy. Transformation. This is the Death card in this particular deck. And I love this. So showing the number is displayed really well. I'm a number girl. So of course we've got the 13. And transformation. She's creating something new in her hand. There's nothing here that says to me, oh my God, I'm afraid of this change. This says, oh, I'm kind of manifesting and co-creating this. Let's see what magic comes through. Eight of Air, Eight of Swords. Nothing scary in this at all. Swords are feathers falling away, thoughts falling away. Feathers that need to go somewhere else. They're falling away and finding a new purpose. And she's orchestrating all of that. She's making that happen herself. Here's another 8. 8 of Earth, 8 of Pentacles. Here we have a beautiful cello. And I feel like here, I almost said viola. That's not what I meant. Here's a beautiful cello. And I love this because, again, it takes mastery. It takes work to learn a skill, to be able to play a musical instrument. And what a perfect depiction of that. And if this card comes up because your guides are letting you know, hey, there's some serious work that's coming your way, you better be prepared, and you're exhausted by it. You're like, okay, well, I know what it takes to sort of learn something or master a skill, and at least there'll be something really cool on the other side of this for me to learn. Here's the Hanged Man or the Hanged One. He looks fun. He actually looks very acrobatic, kind of like a Cirque du Soleil. 10 of Earth, 10 of Pentacles. Here we have, this is perfect. This is the first time that we have a tower popping up for us. And check out this tower. There's no lightning. There's no dun dun dun. In fact, what it looks like is it's beaming, it's lighting up, it's calling your attention to it, rather than your attention being called to it because there's a major catastrophe. It's like, hey, take a look at this place, and what does it need? Does it need some improvement? Is there a different way that I can look at this? There's some rock jutting out, and then there's also some building in there as well. It's a little half and half. What do we need to know about this? King of Fire, King of Wands. This is like Confucius. I feel like this is that energy of Confucius. I want to say the philosopher of the heart that's coming up. 8 of Water, pulling a lot of 8s in this deck. So 8 of Cups, walking away. In this instance, we're not actually seeing sadness around walking away. We're actually seeing, okay, there's a new journey. They've just dropped this off, and this person is watching them get ready to go on this journey. Or it could be this person has been dropped off, but they also have the resources that they need to be able to start their journey. So there's no worry here. And look, you've got like the bright, beautiful sky. I mean, like, this is just fantastic. You don't normally see an 8 of Cups represented that way. Here's a 7 of Earth, a 7 of Pentacles, King of Earth, King of Pentacles. He just looks a little bit like a loving king father. Here's the Lover's card. It's called Love in this deck. And we have, it almost puts you in mind of the Strength card. It's this girl and her lion. And I love that because that's me and my fur babies, right? Me and my doggy. That's all I need. The rest of the world can do whatever it needs to do. People come and go. This is what matters. This is what counts. Here we have 3 of Fire, 3 of Wands, expansion. And how interesting that even though it's a fire card, what we're witnessing and seeing here is a little bit of a shell. And it's a ship that's flying, right? It's a boat, I should say, a boat that is flying. So we're getting a couple of different elements mixed into the messaging. And this always just evokes a lot of imagination for me. Here's the 9 of Fire, 9 of Wands. She doesn't look tired. She looks like, oh, okay, I've got all the things that I need now, and it's all starting to make sense. It's all starting to come together. Here's the King of Air, the King of Swords. He looks a little ridiculous with that mask on his face, but he also looks gentle. He looks thoughtful. He actually does look approachable. Here's the Empress card. She just looks like she is fully content, fully embraced and embodied in who she is. 9 of Water, 9 of Cups, 3 of Earth, 3 of Pentacles. This is interesting because there are no other people in this deck. It's just herself, and it's almost like she's seeking out, who can I reach out to for help? Who can I reach out to for that? Also, this is a card of learning the skill and getting to the details of the basics. I always say, like, 3 of Coins or 3 of Pentacles is getting into the details and learning the basics really well. And then the 8 of Pentacles is that card of mastery, mastering it, bedazzling it, because you've got it down to a science. So now you can have a little fun and be playful with it. So that is our good tarot. Again, very gentle messages here. This is definitely a card that I feel speaks to me when I need something delivered with a soft, gentle touch. This one is another one that a lot of you will probably go, oh yeah, of course. Spirit Song Tarot by Paulina Fay. This is a hugely gentle deck. Great box. I think this is US Games. Yes, it's a US Games deck. It has a really nice book. I actually love the book. So with tarot, because obviously I know the system of tarot, I read it intuitively. Oftentimes I don't bother with the book. But this is a deck that I absolutely choose to read the book with it. And it's because there are some really unique features to this particular deck. And let me just show you. So 5 of Feathers, for example, is the 5 of Swords. And it puts keywords on here, strategy and resilience. And each of these cards is an animal. And that's usually not the way I roll. I mean, I love animals, but I usually I don't get drawn to tarot cards and decks that the whole theme is just animalistic. Just because I find that I don't always identify. I think they're cute, but I don't like identify with it for myself. But with those keywords, I feel like the card book gives more information. Oh, there you go. I opened it up to 5 of Feathers. This is the armadillo. So let's just flip that over. See? Spirit's working with us. I love that. A strategy and resilience. The message: Armadillo brings gifts of protection and resilience. She has the ability to expand the borders of her comfort zone while protecting her boundaries. Armadillo's energy provides a shield against emotional harm. Be open to varied options, yet stay balanced without compromising your personal principles. Wear your spiritual armor, yet choose your battles, knowing that you have the inner strength to move forward, whatever the outcome. Conflict is a test of the willpower. You can agree to disagree and at the same time stand firmly for what you truly believe in. The face of adversity can bring a fresh perspective. A change in approach may be what is needed to manifest the desired results. And then they give keywords, the reverse message, and reversed keywords. So I always enjoy reading this book just to help me connect with the images. So on that note, it's a little bit bigger than a traditional tarot card deck. It is that US Games cardstock, so it's a little flimsier, but solid enough. I like this because it's kind of a sateen. It's got a little bit of a shine or a shimmer, but not too much. It's definitely reversible if you want to read reversals. And let's just take a look at the imagery now. So we have 6 of acorns, and acorns in this deck is wands, success, and triumph. So you can see here we have a stag. And I love that there's, a lot of moon activity in here, but it is a stag. So like, unless I know specifically what a stag is, what a stag does, what that represents, I'm going to have a bit of a challenge tuning into this, because it does tell a story, but the story is not as obvious to me as if it was a person in the mix. Here's the Traveler, or the Fool card: adventure and potential. And this is an antelope. So I think it's really cool that they're using an antelope, but of course I have to look up what the spiritual meaning of an antelope is, right? Awakening, renewal, and enlightenment. We have a beautiful peacock. So you can see here, the imagery is soft. The colors are soft. It kind of puts me a little bit in mind of the Shadowscapes Tarot that we were looking at earlier. A lot of the same color palette. It's a little bit ornate, but it's not over the top. There is detail. You can tell that these have been hand drawn, which I think is really cool. Here's the Tower, release and revelation. There's nothing in here that is, I want to say, offensive or shocking or hurtful at all. The Tower, release and revelation. That feels better than, oh my God, the sky is falling. 8 of Shells, 8 of Cups, quest and renewal. So normally this is a card of letting go, walking away, doing the deep dive. Here we've got the starfish. What I do like about the starfish is I happen to know that they can lose one of their, sort of appendages, and it will grow back. It takes a while, but it will grow back. And I feel like that's important with that 8 of Shells. You can take a quest, and there's little risk involved. Knight of Shells, Knight of Cups, charm and passion. We have the pink flamingo. Well, you got to laugh, right? That puts a smile on your face. 6 of Shells. So 6 of Cups, sentiment and joy. And we have these cute little otters. Three of Acorns, again, Three of Wands. We have foresight and exploration. So it really just gives you, I want to say, these messages of hope. And I think this is a great deck for beginners as well, to start, because it does have those key words on it. It might be a little bit confusing because you're not getting the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles. So that part can be a little confusing. But again, like, the imagery and everything is really soft. The messages are pretty clear and direct, and they're comforting. The wheel, change and possibilities. Sometimes I look at the wheel and I roll my eyes because I'm like, oh my God, here we have the divine order and timing again. What's going to get thrown off from my plan? Change and possibilities makes me feel like, oh, okay. And it's the octopus. So there are 8 different opportunities here. I'm bound to win one of those. 2 of Acorns, insight and focus. The bird is determined. Here's the moon, imagination and perception. Beautiful snow owl here. 8 of Acorns. This is like an eel, I think. Energy, results. 6 of Crystals, synergy and gratitude. These guys just make me laugh so much. They just look so funny. The Magician. Take a look at the Magician. I love that it's a raven. Willpower and creation. King of Crystals. This is the King of Pentacles. Courage and commitment. Oops. King of Feathers, King of Swords, logic and justice. It's the Lion. We already looked at the 5 of Feathers here, so I'll just move that. Here's a 9 of Feathers. So 9 of Swords, perspective and self-empowerment. It's a porcupine. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you're dealing with a 9 of Swords. But that helps you to understand, okay, the 9 of Swords isn't trauma. It's, oh, there's a warning here. I need to just respect somebody's boundaries, including my own. 4 of Feathers, 4 of Swords, sanctuary and rest. A bear in hibernation. Here we have the Strength card, courage and endurance. And of course, it's represented by a beautiful elephant. So yes, the Spirit Song Tarot is a song for your spirit. It's a comforting song for your spirit. Dare I say, for your soul. All right, let's take a look. I got a couple more here. So this is the Aluma Tarot, and I don't know, I can't even remember where I got this. This might have been something that I ordered on Amazon, but I'm not really sure. So it did come damaged, but I wasn't too, sort of broken up about that. But the deck box is really cool. They've got some writing here on the side. It's got that magnetic closure, which I think is great. The card book is wonderful. I love the font that it uses. It doesn't show the images of the cards. It's just all writing. But you know what? These cards are so colorful and descriptive anyway. I don't think you really need that. So let's take a look at these. Now, this is a bit of a bolder color, and these colors really speak to me. You might not think of all of these jewel tones when you're thinking of a soft deck or a gentle deck, but just hold your judgment for later. Let's go through it and see what you think, because this deck really calls to me. Like, take a look at that moon card. Oh, I just want to sink into that. She looks so happy looking up at the moon. We're seeing a side profile of her. There's reflection off of the water. There's just such calmness here. The moon is a card of intuition. Yes, it's a card of mystery. When this pops up for me and there's something coming up that I'm nervous about, or it's the mystery of something and I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm supposed to know or what it is that I'm supposed to do, getting this card makes me happy. Like, this feels like, ooh, yay. This feels so comforting and soft. Check out this Ace of Wands. So even though we have a lot of brighter colors, there's nothing like in your face about this card. There are things that are being highlighted, things that your eyes are drawn to, but the overarching energy of the card is very soft, very gentle. Check out this 10 of Swords. So 10 of Swords, the card of rebirth, right? Where you're used to seeing someone who's been stabbed in the back 10 times and, blood coming out of them. There's none of that here. This is I've risen. I'm the phoenix rising from the ashes. Here's the King of Coins. King of Coins is so beautiful. We've got two. We've got sort of like the overarching soul aspect, and then we also have this, I want to say, the physical aspect. So as above, so below. That's usually not associated with King of Coins, but there you have it. 10 of Coins. So the legacy that's being left behind, right? Or arriving at the ideal situation or the ideal outcome. This just feels absolutely fantastic. 6 of Wands. Here, this is typically the card of victory, right? We're taking a look at this. Where is the victory in all of this? I feel like there's a lot for us to kind of take a look at, for my eye to be drawn to. And it shows that, yeah, there are some victorious places, but don't rest on your laurels. You know, it's always important to look to the next, to look for what is to come. Here's the beautiful Sun card represented by this beautiful child. You're not seeing any features. You're seeing their silhouette. And one is the front and one is the back. And I think that's just so beautiful. Let's take a look here. Oh, that's a favorite of mine. I'm going to show you that for sure. Okay, so here's the Queen of Swords. She's a card of boundaries, organization around those boundaries. She feels very strong. She can defend herself, but she's not in a place of feeling like she needs to be, reared up for battle. I love this one, 3 of Wands. I'm all about the expansion, and I just love this. It makes me think it's very lightsaber-esque, very Star Wars-esque. So choose your lightsaber and let's get on with it, kind of thing. Let's move forward. Let's move ahead. Ace of Coins. So again, we're not seeing features of people here, but we are seeing silhouettes. And it's kind of got this sacred geometry-esque energy, almost like an amoeba or a cell in the body, DNA kind of energy, a little biological. And I think that's great. I don't look at these cards and think, ooh, I'm getting hit over the head with the message. 2 of Swords. There's a hand and a hand. So we could say it's the reflection. We could also say, hey, there are 2 people here that are working together to try and come up with the best solution, right? Coming up with that 3rd place solution. Here's an interesting one, the 8 of Swords. So again, there's a lot of detailing in these sword images and the sword hilts. It gives you the freedom to be able to say, oh, I can liberate myself from this experience. It doesn't have to be so bad. Here's the Queen of Wands. She's been coming up like crazy in this particular video here. So let's see what we got going on. Oh, check out the Strength card. Look at this. Even her stance, the way she's standing and what she's looking at, what she's working towards, it really gives you that sense that she is moving forward and you want her to succeed. You want to follow her. You feel confidence oozing from that particular card. Also, I want to mention, it also is showing the astrological signs here, as well as the number of the cards. So that's super helpful too, if you are an astrology person. Here's the Magician. And again, we're not seeing an actual figure as well. We're seeing kind of the profile of the figure, but it's the energy of the card that you're supposed to feel. And everything feels inviting. It feels like the Magician. It's a brand new day. It's the dawning of a new day. Child of Wands. So this is the Page of Wands, looking out into this new, this abyss, looking out into that and saying, okay, I'm ready for this journey. What is this journey going to hold for me? This is where I want to arrive at. This is where I want to get to. What are all the fun experiences I'm going to have along the way? Chariot, check that out. Wow. So again, we are seeing some figures. We're definitely seeing that it is a journey. There's a caravan, so to speak, that is occurring here, but X marks the spot. So you're in the right place. The Chariot's going to get you where you need to be. Here's a beautiful 3 of Cups, celebration. Yes, if I'm getting this card, I'm not sad about it. I'm really excited. Give me one of those martini glasses. I will enjoy. The adversary. So this is the devil card. I love that they named it the adversary. And yeah, he's got a little bit of a foreboding kind of face. He's a little bit dark. But if you just like remove the eyeballs, again, it's not a scary image. It's more of an image that shows you the light and the dark. And what are you choosing? What are you choosing to embrace and embody? Here's a 7 of coins. So we've been running into this one as well. So this is great. The universe is helping us to do a compare and contrast. Here's the lovers. Check that out. So soft, so gentle. It's beautiful to look at. The colors are incredible. You're getting the message, but again, you're not being hit over the head with it. Here's that 8 of coins, the 8 of pentacles. All of the detailing, all of the fine detailing, and here you have the third eye that is I want to say flowing through all of it. It is a part of the web that has been woven. So that is the Aluma deck. And again, just an absolutely gorgeous deck to connect with, especially when you're looking for a deck that is, I want to say, comforting. And you need little comfort, you need little support. And this is the final deck that I'm going to show you guys. This is a Japanese vintage tarot deck. I believe it was made in the 80s, 86. It's got this, honestly, the pamphlet is just a waste of time. You don't need it. Then they give a little QR code. But here is the back of the deck. It's reversible. It doesn't come in a box. It just came in this little bag. Loving the imagery of this right away. And I was just really drawn to these cards. And they're going to be very different than anything else we've looked at. It's a standard tarot-sized deck. It's actually a little bit of a thicker cardstock than the Spirit Song, like the US Games. I forgot to mention about the cardstock with the Aluma, by the way. It is a thicker cardstock. It's got some of that sateen finish. It's kind of along the same lines of US Games, although it's not made by US Games. It's pretty sturdy, but they do take a little bit of wear and tear, with shuffling. So sorry, I meant to mention that. Okay, so back to our fabulous Japanese deck. Take a look at this. It's soft. It's that rose petal feel. This is the Hermit card. And wow, like you can get lost in this. It's kind of a minimalist deck. It is more of that black and white with a splash of color. And most of the color that you're going to see in here is going to be the orangey red. And the way that everything gets displayed and portrayed, this definitely brings me a lot of comfort. 8 of coins. You're seeing the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time. You're seeing the clouds. You're seeing the effort, Mother Nature's effort. It's magical. Here's a 5 of cups. Look at how beautiful she is. 5 of cups is a card of grief. You're not seeing her face. You're seeing the outline of this woman. You're seeing the flowers. Some of the petals are falling off. That to me symbolizes, okay, there are some tears. This is a person who is inward right now, dealing with an issue, and that it's okay and everything's going to be okay. There is no color when we're grieving. There's no color in our life, right? The Emperor. Look at this strength, right? Divine masculine energy. We've got this structure in the center, structure here. It's very cut and dry. It makes sense. It feels like that. 4 of Wands, celebration. 4 of Wands, the establishment of a foundation, celebration on that, and a new path that you're forging ahead with. Loving the red of that beautiful sunshine. Here's the 9 of Cups, wishes fulfilled. And we have this beautiful bird with a lot of decoration going on here. You've got a beautiful cherry blossom going on. Just the ornateness of this is spectacular. Here's the Hierophant, structure, order, ritual, tradition, limiting beliefs. Here we have the structure of a home. Here's the 7 of Wands, a card typically of defense, and you've got this fortress here. Beautiful fortress coming into the mix, and a lot of the red that is coming up and coming through. So when I'm doing a card pull for myself from this deck, and I am really in that needing comfort, this deck always gives me exactly what I need because it speaks to me. It tells me what I need to know. King of Swords. There's a structure here, standing tall. There's, I want to say, an intelligent plan and path here. The trust in the plan. All is working out. All is going to work out in the way it's supposed to. This gives me what I need. But again, not to sound like a broken record, but it doesn't hit me over the head. Four of Swords, that comfort, that rest, that truce, that peace. And again, we're not seeing her face. We're seeing more of the outline of her. But there's a calmness to this. Here's the High Priestess, represented by a beautiful cherry blossom. And there's a little bridge here, so we don't have the pillars, but we have sort of the as above, so below is what we're kind of looking at. We have the two vistas, the two views. And isn't that the High Priestess? I receive what I receive from my high source and from guidance, from my guides, and I deliver it. Also, secrets. A lot of people read this card as secrets, and secrets hidden, secrets revealed. And I feel like this is kind of the two worlds, a little bit of the duality of that too. And maybe there are secrets here that are going to be revealed over here and vice versa. Here's the Fool card. Beautiful. One leg down, one leg maybe in a little resistance or maybe taking the leap. Another hand that's kind of pushing off to give that person support as they're moving forward. The Fool is wonderful when it comes up, but sometimes it requires a little bit of extra courage. Sometimes we do have to bolster ourselves in order to be able to take the next leap. Six of Cups, that's another one that's been coming up. Three of Swords, so typically a card of heartbreak, also a card of that self-care. When we're looking at this particular depiction, you're not seeing heartbreak, you're seeing storm in amongst all of these other beautiful color spaces. Also, red skies at night, sailors delight. Red skies at morning, sailors take warning. So there is an energy here that you are moving through something a little more emotional, and it's okay. You're going to be okay when you get through the other side. Look at the Justice card. Wow. I just love that. It's such a unique interpretation. It can be like bars. It symbolizes bars, but it can also symbolize the black and the white. Give me the extremes. I want to know, did you break the law or didn't you? And if you did break the law, to what degree did you break it? Because that's how we're going to move forward. There's no emotion in this. It's the facts. Queen of Cups. Beautiful. We haven't seen a Queen of Cups yet. Look at her. Look at how gorgeous she is. She is definitely, I want to say, comfortable in her feels. Here's the Knight of Swords, and this is a card typically of impulsiveness, right? Moving forward, quick succession. And here you have a lot of people that are quickly trying to climb a mountain. Either they're chasing this person or they're trying to meet this person or they're getting away from a storm. But there is movement ahead, and it's movement upward. So that says a lot depending on where you're sitting at in your emotional state. Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles. What are you trying to protect? Where is the stability that you're seeking? Are you limiting yourself in that stability? I always like to use the example. Maybe this is the house you grew up in and you've never lived in another home. You've never lived in another city or town. Maybe this is the invitation for you to spread your wings a little bit and fly. Go see what is on the horizon rather than staying stuck. Seven of Swords. This is that card of integrity, honesty or dishonesty, and strategy. And here we have a beautiful dragon holding a lantern. So shining a light on things that need to be seen. And there's a piece of the lantern missing. There's a lot that we can really take from these Eight of Cups. Walking away. This figure is clearly walking away from something. The Magician. Here we've got the beautiful tree rising out of the mountain scenery. There's a beautiful bridge here. There's resource. The sun or the moon, depending on how you look at that, has resource within it as well. Alchemy. using what's around you to alchemize what you need. The moon, captivating, so much to look at in there. And we'll do the Three of Coins. And this Three of Coins doesn't look like a Three of Coins at all when you're thinking about it in terms of collaboration. But when you're looking at it in terms of detail and learning the details, I've lived my black and white world. And now I'm learning to bring color into that space and let me be very specific and detailed in where I'm putting the color and how I'm allowing that to stand out in my black and white world. So that is the my soft list. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh my God, I just love talking about tarot. I could talk about it all day long. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you enjoyed some of my selections. Please feel free to put in the comments any of your favorite soft, comforting decks, because I would love to know about them and I'd love to explore those for myself as well. I hope you guys have the most amazing day. Take care, and we will see you on the flip side for another Divinely Decked. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture, Divining the VIP Life.